not reaping the benefits
now
that we
they have
wanted.
to send guys out to actually monitor the red light cameras.
Yeah, exactly. And so now they're mad. So now they want to go sue the people that they signed the contract with. It's ridiculous. Don't put them up in the first place. It totally pisses me off. Now here's another story out of the New York Times. Turkey arrests 3 Vice News journalists on terrorism charges. This just came out today. The 3 journalists for Vice News have been formally arrested in southeast Turkey and charged with aiding a terrorist organization 4 days after they were detained while covering the conflict between Kurdish separatists and the Turkish state. So I guess they're covering both sides of the story, which the Turks don't like.
Right there.
Let me tell you, the Turks will come down hard on you. There's some old Bilderberg footage, I think from 2006 or 2007, of Jim Tucker getting harassed by the Turks. And I mean, those are people you don't want to mess with.
That reminds me somewhat of, Amber Lyon, when she went out to Bahrain and she was documenting what was going on out there. Then they essentially detained her and gave her a very limited view. Like, we'll drive you around to the places where we want you to go and see what we want you to see.
Look, here's a mall. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like with North Korea, when you go in, if they allow you to come in, they have like this little area set up that like looks nice, but really on the outskirts, it's just horrendous poverty. People have no food.
Yeah,
and
this is just another instance of how they want to control the narrative. You know, and the Turks are definitely, I think, can be implicated in giving these missiles, in this whole missile deal with Benghazi, giving missiles to ISIS. You know, and how does ISIS come up with missiles on their own? They're not building.
We
they
know
don't have weapons factories.
They get grenades airdropped to them, you know, courtesy of Western governments.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Hey, I want to change gears here and get into Clinton. Now that Larry Nichols was talking about Clinton today, how he thinks that when this stuff goes to trial, she'll want to use the emails. She'll say, hey, I want to use my emails as evidence. And they'll say, no, it's classified. Can't do it. We're going to throw the whole case out. And which is I could see the Clintons doing this. I covered this last night on the nightly news. This is from Breitbart. Exclusive. Hillary shared an email network with the Clinton Foundation. So her server at her house, she had her personal emails, the clintonmail.com, but they also had presidentclinton.com, which was part of the Clinton Foundation. So everybody was using that server.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Hi, I'm Shane Steiner. A lot of you have been following my progress using Supermale Vitality. The last 19 weeks has been an incredible experience. I was feeling a little down and lethargic during the holidays, and none of the supplements that I was taking were doing any good. That's when my longtime friend from high school, Alex Jones, introduced me to Supermale Vitality. I was a little skeptical at first. Not only would I have the energy to work out and go to the gym, but it was actually the changes were happening to my body a lot more rapidly. My whole mood, my libido, everything had completely changed. The concentrated organic herbs, they stimulate your natural systems to produce the natural hormones that you need. I just really wanted to bulk up and hit it hard, and I went in for about the first 5 weeks and was lifting heavy weight and just really hitting it hard, and I gained 20 pounds of muscle immediately. Since that, I've decided I was going to lose some weight and slim down. I just changed up my workout a little bit, and 35 pounds came off. Folks, this is not a joke. This is not a gimmick, it's real. Supermale Vitality, available at InfoWarsLife.com.
Introducing Secret 12, the new INFOWARS Life vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com.
Joining me in studio now is Jakari Jackson, and we're going to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, Jakari, we've been watching this play out, for more than a year now on television, and we can see that it's going the way, as predicted, divide and conquer. Now, people are taking sides, getting some violent stories out there in the media. But, in its heyday, when it first popped off, I really got behind that movement. It was a divine spark of revolution from the people who were fed up with police brutality. Militarization of the police was on full display. You were there, a witness to it. And we're not really hearing about, a certain aspect of the movement. Why is that? And talk a little bit about it.
Well, back in August of last year, myself, Joe Biggs, and Josh Owens, our photographer, had a chance to go out to Ferguson, Missouri, and we saw a lot of peaceful demonstrations. Of course, we know that things did happen out there. They burned down the Quick Trip store, and, some looting and other things happened. I'm definitely not trying to downplay that. But when you talk about Black Lives Matter as a whole, what you see now, Leanne, is a very narrow view of activities by some of the people in the movement. Case in point, they'll show you a clip of guys beating on the hood of somebody's car or going to some veteran ceremony and interrupting it or harassing people at dinner. And once again, that stuff does happen. But what they don't show you is, 2,000, 3,000 people walking peacefully down the street. That's a news story for like 6 minutes. Right. And then it completely disappears. Or people, assembled peacefully, in the street. Maybe they're blocking traffic, maybe they're not. And that's one of the things I'm going to start with right now. I have this video from last year. Peaceful protesters confront St. Louis police state. And just go ahead and take a look, and we'll talk about this afterward.
Uh-oh! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Hold up, man. I'm with here. I'm putting my life on the line for my people. I'm putting my life around for everybody in this country. I believe in equality. We have a right to assemble.
And why the cops tell us we can't be out here? Like you said, we have a right to assemble.
Martial law.
Our rights are being the one authority of police every day. They have complete domain over us. They are like gods. If they tell you not to do something, you cannot do it. And if you do, they will treat you like a dog. You will be shot down. Well, at least for a black man. I'm not sure for everybody, but I do understand that. I hope it's not like that for everybody. It shouldn't be. It should not be like that for any human being to live on this planet.
We bleed the same blood. We are from the same descendants. There's no way one person can tell us, or one small amount of people can tell us what and what we cannot do. There's something as an actual people being unity, that's not something we cannot happen at all. At all.
Mike Brown! 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 Mike Brown!
So, Leanne, that's the stuff that people don't see when we see these politicians and these pundits and even sometimes people in law enforcement. They'll chime in and talk about, oh, this Black Lives Matter movement, but they don't see stuff like this. people peacefully assembled. And to anybody who had criticized that clip and say, well, they were blocking out the street. No, the police were blocking out that street from both ends. Anybody who lived in that neighborhood had to show a photo ID to be able to drive down that street. And then on the other side, you had the MRAPs, just like we saw there. So the police were blocking the street. It wasn't the fault of the demonstrators in that particular area. And this is another thing. I believe this was the next day or 2 days later when we were out there in Ferguson. Like I said before, you know, these guys, anybody who wears a Black Lives Matter t-shirt and does something sensational or criminal, even in some cases, you know, it's the sensation of the week. You can't hear enough of it. You see it on every news channel. But when you have 2,000 people walking down the street peacefully, minor traffic issues, nobody wants to talk about it. So let's take a look at that clip.
But let's take a look, show you all the people out here so you can get the grand scale of all of this. There are multiple news outlets out here, near and far, people who came from near and far, as I said, every color. You can see they completely fill the street out here. We've seen the state troopers out here. Thus far, we have had no problems with them. We have not seen any heavy armor, no riot shields, no MRAPs. Hopefully this will continue and you can show that people can have a good, wholesome time without the police state pointing guns at their heads. You notice the people are better behaved today without a gun pointing to their head than they were when people were aiming guns at them, throwing smoke grenades at them. This is what they want. This is all these people want, to live peacefully and have a peaceful solution to the situation. You can find more reports at INFOWARS.com.
So you saw, Leanne, was it 2,000, 3,000 people out there? No looting, no rioting, nobody got injured that I'm aware of. But, you know, these are the stories that you don't see, and I really wish people would know more about this. But once again, as I said, they're looking through a very narrow view of the story that some people want told. They don't want to talk about all these people. And truth be told, Leanne, if I wasn't there at some of these events, I wouldn't know this stuff happened either. Because when you turn it on your mainstream networks, you don't see that. You see the guys with their pants down, you know, burning down buildings, and once again, that stuff happens. But this good stuff happens too. And now we're moving on to a clip of a Marine that I had a chance to meet out there in Ferguson, Missouri. And this just shows you the diversity of people who are out there. It's not just black people from in that community. You had white people, a white Marine coming from a different community who showed his support for the crowd out there.
Pretty sure that peaceful protesters don't need to have snipers and tanks hounding their ass.
Tell me why, bro.
Because the First Amendment protects all Americans in their freedom of expression and freedom of assembly.
You served your country?
I did. I was a U.S. Marine in Iraq.
So you're telling me that as a Marine, you're telling me your professional opinion is that they don't need snipers and MRAP trucks to stop these protesters?
When it's a peaceful protester, that is clearly excessive and a violation of every single protester's constitutional rights.
What does it make you think? You go out there and you fight for your country in these foreign occupations, and now you come home and you have these measures turned against you.
I go protect Iraqis in Iraq, and I come back and I find that my fellow Americans are being attacked by police.
In this last clip that I have here, Leanne, this is from back in November of last year before the no indictment was read for Officer Darren Wilson. And we had a chance to march with people. And this is another thing. You see all these news agencies. I want you guys to watch this clip. You see all these news agencies, these cameras, these photogs out there. And ask yourself, how much of this did you actually see on mainstream television? Once again, you know, guys burning down buildings and all that stuff, they'll show that all day. But when you have nice people, you know, white women, black women holding hands, you know, old people, young people, people from inside the community, from outside the community, they come together for a good, peaceful march that should have garnered much media attention, and it got barely none. Right. And this is police accountability protesters take their message across St. Louis.
And so by stopping the streets, we're not only showing that the government, quote unquote, does not have power over us, but that the structures themselves are what need remedy. And so by shutting down the streets, it's not an attempt to make somebody feel uncomfortable unless they need to, because they are themselves a part of these structures as well, but that the structures themselves need to be questioned. And in this instance, they need to be changed, because the structures of injustice that created this situation are that which have continually been a part of the American justice system to begin with, and that's that people of color, people of gender, people of low economic status have been continually marginalized and have been the object of violence.
So, Jakari, what do you think has changed in the way that they are protesting now, or, you know, specifically targeting brunch and things like that? What's the difference, and do you think that that could be creating some division with.
Well, when you see stuff, just like you mentioned, I know the clip you're talking about, when they interrupt somebody's brunch, or that veteran that I mentioned earlier, they go to a ceremony and interrupt that. I don't think that's so much helping the movement, but once again, that's not all inclusive of the movement. Just like we've seen things like the Occupy movement. Anybody can go get a T-shirt that says Occupy or make a sign that says Occupy. They may go do something that the rest of the group doesn't recommend. The same thing like a group Anonymous. All you have to do is go buy a Guy Fawkes mask and turn on the lights in your mom's basement, and you can put out your anonymous message.